I've kind of noticed that too, as I've noticed them playing. But Mousesports, as long as they pick something they know they can do work with, I think they'll be just fine. And, you know, one of the things to mention, Gankstars, Cerberus, a team that's coming together very recently, but, you know, these players have all, like you said, played with other organizations, with other squads, so it's not like they don't know what are their favorite company picks, right?
Yeah, and, you know, taking out that Vox specifically coming out of Gangstar Cerberus, they know exactly to make sure that Mr. K Cool or doesn't get that Vox and plays it up in the lane. And then this is where you see, like, Mousesports. Sometimes they swap K Cool and Great Kali, depending on, like, you know, you throw a Glaive or a Black Feather up there. There is a great chance that Great Kali will be going up to that lane with Mr. K Cool running down to that jungle.
Yeah, well, we know these guys very versatile, as we said before, and looks like they're going to keep a versatile draft open with Adagio as the first pick, something they can really build around and open up a lot with.
And we saw a lot of this play style coming out of them before, especially using the Adagio flex pick, building a bunch of different compositions just to counter their opponents. But it feels like Gangstar Cerberus, these guys have put a lot of planning into this draft. Knowing that Techno JJ always he has been playing a lot of Vox recently, and for them to ban out Vox when they're going second shows a lot of confidence. Shows that they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, well, I like it. They were highlighted on a pedal there, and I would love to see a little bit of pedal come out here in the qualifiers. We haven't seen too much pedal, but Finn's the first pick, and Finn's been doing a lot of work recently in the meta. Such an incredible hero, and they're going to couple it up with a Cruel here.
So you do have a very sustainable composition here. Cruel is very good against buff comps due to the fact that as long as he locks onto that primary target, all those weakness stacks really adds up. Combine that with the Polite Company, combine that with that Force Accord, and you do have a great chance of winning a sustained team fight.
You know, I think you're speaking truths. Historically, that definitely is one of the great ways. Cruel, he's a great way to shut down that buff comp. One of the things, though, that I hesitate to see how effective this will be is that, you know, the recent Adagios have been kind of picking and choosing to self-buff or buff their ally, in which maybe Cruel could get into a little trouble.
Yeah, and also one more thing is, like, even if you pull Adagio when his ultimate is going off from the Forced Accord, it's just going to pull that ultimate into your whole team. So that's something that they're going to have to really watch out for and have to time us specifically.
All right, well, they're going to be able to lock it in the sky here, and we'll see who exactly wants to play it. I know this is Mr. K Cool's, you know, when we talked to him, one of his absolute favorite heroes. But we also saw him playing Adagio with Great Kali going on the skies, and that looks like that's what's going to be happening. And a Saw comes out at the end. These guys are dirty Saw pickers, but I think I could actually do a lot of work for them.
They're actually very excellent Saw players on their team. Specifically, every time I do play in Europe and I play with, like, either anybody on the Gangstar Cerberus team, we're always running a Saw composition regardless if it's buff or push.
And you think it matches up pretty good with their opponents here?
It does work out very well for them, but I have a feeling that they are going to get outmaneuvered. What Mousesports is going to do is try and just pull back a lot of the team fights and make sure things go in their favor.
All right, guys, well, keep your eyes on that. We'll go ahead and jump right into the game right now. We've loaded in the Halcyon Fold, and we have Vedius and Action Jackson ready to go. So, guys, take it away.
Oh boy, it's the first Saw, I think, that I've seen in the spring qualifiers. Very excited to see how this one works out. Vedius, I'm sure you are as well. This is a composition, though, that I want to talk about first from Mousesports. We've seen them run with great success in the past.
Yes, we have. Great Kali, already been a phenomenal Sky player. We have seen his mechanics. We saw them yesterday, we saw them last week as well, and we're going to be seeing them once again today. And, you know, AJ, I worry that you're getting a little bit old, because we actually saw the Saw yesterday up against the Rhyme, and we had a very long conversation.
You're right.
About how we thought Saw would do up against Rhyme. So,
I think I am getting old.
You sorry, mate?
I think I am getting old. Which means you are too, because we have the same birthday.
Yeah, we do. Speaking of the Saw, have a look at that. Getting pushed around by Mr. K-Core very early on. You got to respect this. Both actually only level 1. Mr. K-Core doesn't even have his Agent of Wrath. He's decided to go for the Gift of Fire early on. So a little bit surprising that Techno JJ would get forced out of lane as a result, but just Mr. K-Core demonstrating his proficiency on the hero.
Oh, he's a very strong Adagio player. I think probably one of the strongest we have in EU. So it doesn't surprise me at all that he's able to really make a dent in this Saw lane. At the moment, you know, I actually think it makes a lot of sense picking up that heal early on. It's going to allow for him to sustain through the early damage of Tendo JJ. Whoa! Mr. Keiko, he needs to go! Oh, that was almost comical. Just very slowly creeping forward for the last hit. Ember King. Hang on. Okay, Mr. Keiko, be careful! Leon's
No, he's
got
gone.
him. Why did he stay? He ruined such a beautiful moment.
Greed. He stayed for greed. I mean, you gotta get that far, man. It's all about the priorities, isn't it? You know? So, yes, Mr. K. Cool able to secure his team first blood, and that reminds me of, like, do you know when you're feeding a child and you say the aeroplane's coming, the aeroplane's coming? He looked like that slow-moving aeroplane that was slowly working his way towards Techno JJ.
Every one of your analogies is like relating to kids. Like yesterday, it was like
because
the
it's my everyday life, mate. It's my everyday life. It's the only analogies I can relate to.
Do I not know that after
child.
knowing?
I am the child. The only way I can
makes
eat.
Perfect sense.
The only way I can eat is if I sit there with a spoon to myself and I'm like, here comes the aeroplane, Vedius, it's coming.
You are an extremely fussy eater. That's,
exactly.
That's
you see what I'm saying? Right, so that's exactly what happened right there. Slow, agonizing death to Techno JJ as he had to watch Mr. Keiko walk towards him. Speaking of Mr. Keiko, though,
here comes the jet plane. Leon jumping right onto Mr. Keiko. Gonna pop that kill down early on, actually going the way of Emmer King with the last hit. Techno JJ does take some return damage from Great Khali, but Gankstars Cerberus finding a few kills early on here to Mr. Keiko.
Yep, that's the fantastic crawl combo that we've seen so many times before. Not usually paired up with a Finn, but it still works in the same way in the sense that you get that movement speed buff from sitting in the brush for a little while, and then you just rush out into the lane. There's very little that the laner can do, especially they have no early reflex block. They're not going to get that much defensive itemization this early on, and all you need is a couple weakness stacks to be able to just get the damage down. So it's a nice setup, and you have to remember that the B ability coming out from Techno JJ also helps set that one up because you can get a nice slowdown, and that just makes it all the more easier for Leon to stick onto you. So great plays coming out from Gankstars early on, and already we're seeing a lot of back and forth action. This is somewhat what we expected from these two teams. Very bloody, very mechanically skilled, and it's no surprise that both these teams looking to demonstrate those mechanics very early on.
So we're seeing what looks like a Crystal Power Saw coming out. Gonna have some dank shanks moving forwards. My favorite kinds of shanks.
Crystal. Cool. I do like the Crystal Power. Does
that change? I was gonna say, does that change your opinion on the composition at all?
Well, it suggests that they're not really going for a push comp. They're more going for a let's kill Great Khali really quickly comp. You know, we've seen so many times. Techno JJ, so the ratios on his dank shank, right? On his roadie run, which is what it's properly called, is actually 2.7. Right, so for those that aren't aware, for every crystal power that you have, for every one, his roadie run gets 2.7. So when you have 100, he gets 270 crystal power, which is insane because that then goes on top of the base stats, which are also insanely high because it does more damage the more health the target is missing. So we are actually going to be seeing the dank smite coming out from these two, where
it's a dank dunk.
Oh, the dank dunk, my apologies, the dank dunk, where you get those weakness stacks up onto a target, you then smite, and you use the roadie run at the same time to insta-kill someone. So we did see this at the live champs. This is where this was born from. Now it's all coming back to me. And it's very much about just diving on. They can't be mobile if they're dead. Is the plan basically coming out from Gankstars, you know, just diving onto the backline and just insta-killing them almost immediately. So that's either going to be, the focus will either be K-Cool or Great Khali, and we'll just have to see which target they feel is the greater threat moving forward.
Have you given up on the Doom Dagger and the Doom
Yeah,
Smite?
we Twitch chat were clearly a massive fan at the time. Look at this from Leon!
Whoa,
oh my word!
What? Mr. K-Cool just got annihilated. That was about as long range from Hell's Heart as I think you can have.
That's the largest range I've ever seen. That was insane. I can't believe he got that. Oh my word. They're going to get a turret off the back of this.
That was just crazy. Leon is actually taking a bit of damage here, though. Great Khali finding some return. Techno JJ got to be a bit careful as well. Emmer King trying to lead the charge here. take the brunt of the damage. Surrey Strike not going to land, but Leon, got to be careful of that forward barrage. See, the Dankshank's already starting to do some good damage.
Yeah, you saw it right there, the combo. Leon was clearly able to get a bunch of weakness stacks down, and then you follow that up with the Dankshank, and it's just insta-kill. The Dank Dunk is very powerful, and I completely forgot of how easy it is to actually set this up, because you have the Finn, you have the From Hell's Heart, which I suppose if you use it that way, is a great way to engage fights. Just very I mean, I've seen this sort of engage before, but never that cleanly. It was just, the execution was perfect. It was really nice to see.
Hell is apparently very far away, because that was such a long range of ultimate from Leon. It was crazy, really getting the maximum out of that. Gankstars Cerberus showing up in a big way, at least so far in this first game of their semifinals matchup. Mousesports struggling a little bit, but hopefully for them they can turn things around moving forward. Right now, 1 kill to 3, and even Stevens on the gold. Leon looking for Net Toilette here, maybe. That's going to be Polite Company pulling him in. Look at the damage. The smite comes down. Techno JJ on the side, though, is going to fall to Great Kali this time. Mousesports were able to get that return. Great Kali still in the action, though. Got to be careful about the Polite Company from Ember King, keeping him in range of Leon. Leon does not have From Hell's Heart for another 65 seconds. Going to be hard to stick on the highly mobile Sky, but Smite is going to be available soon. Has he got the damage? 1 or 2 more attacks. He finds it. Mr. K-Cool wants a return. He's got the reflex block, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. The weakness stacks doing so much work. Leon picking up another kill. It's 6-2 in favor of Gankstars Cerberus.
The shield from Leon's A has been reduced in the most recent patch, but it was still just enough to mitigate the amount of damage that Mr. Keiko was trying to put out. When you combine that with the weakness stacks as well, Leon able to secure himself the 2 kills in the 2 versus 2. Really impressive stuff, and this is the Leon that everyone has been hyping up. He has been making, you know, we've all been waiting to see Leon really step up since you and I last saw him with that phenomenal Sky where he went like 17-0-2 back in one of the winter qualifiers. He hasn't really been standing out throughout this qualifier as of yet. He's definitely been playing well, but he hasn't been, you know, that guy that everyone's like, oh, Leon, this mechanical god, and now of all people, he's the one to bring back the crow, and he's going to try and do it again.
That Toilette does have the Vanguard to jump to Mr. K-Cool there, so actually we didn't see the Spectral Smite coming down. We only saw the Dankshank out of Techno JJ, but Great Kali's here. He's going to be looking for some forward barrage damage, forces Leon back. I think with the amount of poke they've taken, Gankstars Cerberus going to have to be careful about biting off too much here. They want to keep the fight going for now, though. Leon charging up that sprint. Can't quite get on top of anyone, though.
Not as of yet, but look at this, the siege coming out from Gankstars. They're trying to force a play.
Oh, Net Toilette throwing down that gauntlet. Leon has a lot of damage here with the fountain, keeping Net Toilette just healthy enough. Leon, he needs to run back a little bit. Techno JJ does have some nice damage with those ultimate enhanced auto attacks, but he can't quite finish up the kill. Both teams bruised, but still alive off the back of that fight.
So very close. Net Toilette was actually the target focus coming out from Gankstars. The smite barely enough to get him down, and it was all thanks to that very early Fountain of Renewal that was picked up by Net Toilette. Doing a lot of work there. Same going for Emma King, keeping his team alive. Ooh, Great Kali face check in the brush.
That's a lot of damage from Leon right off the bat, but Mr. K-Cool is rotating down here to try and help him out. From Hell's Heart, it's gonna land onto Kali. One more attack picks it up. Leon with the kill, and now Techno JJ is here using that Dankshank, actually flipping backwards off of Mr. Keiko into the wall so that he keeps his good positioning. Very well played by him. Gankstars Cerberus picking up another 2 kills and a gold mine off the back of that, unless Net Toilette can come in with some kind of crazy steal. He's thinking about it. I don't think he should think for too long, though. Leon swapping targets, going for that Spectral Smite damage. Has he got it? Look at how slow Net Toilette is. The reflex block just in time to keep him alive, though. Net Toilette is going to get away, but a big play coming across from Gankstars Cerberus.
Ooh, Gankstars stepping it up here for the semi-final. They want to look super confident and comfortable moving forward to the final, and I imagine that is the goal of every single team right now. A pause is going to come out. It does appear that one of the players is experiencing some technical issues, so It does appear that we're going to be handing it back off to the analyst desk very quickly to address some of these issues.
All right, well, we're hanging out here watching this match, and it looks like they have a little bit of connection issues going on, so quick pause, make sure everybody's having the most fair game possible. Rome, how do you think this is working out so far?
Honestly, I like the way that they've been positioning this Saw, making sure that as long as they don't engage too deep, they don't take too much coming in out of that sky. And Leon has been on point with these stuns on that Cruel. I can't believe it. Like, it's like auto lock ultimate.
Auto lock ultimate. I mean, that one from Hell's Heart that he got off right there in the lane on K-Core.
Auto lock ultimate.
It was insane, though. It was like he was going for the reverse anyway, and then he had to use his boots just to barely get there, that long range, and then they follow through on it. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, like, this just comes to know, like, we were talking about how strong these players are mechanically and how well they know the limitations and exactly what to do. You know, they can throw a composition like this together. You have a Cruel, you have a Saw, like two heroes that you would never think would have worked either in previous patches or either just in general, like just running them in rank, you'd be like, oh, what's going on with these guys?
Well, I know Vedius and Action Jackson, they're two guys that are pretty much big fans of this combination. They're talking about the Dank Dunk, the Dank Smite, the Dank Shank. They're coming up.
Oh.
They got all these. I think the Dank Dunk's pretty appropriate there, though.
Yeah, we did see a lot of this coming on SK Prometheus during, like, previously. And it does work out very well, but you are dealing with two very immobile compositions where Saw has to stand that back line and Cruel is always up front. As long as you keep the distance between them appropriate, where Saw can still be able to back up that Cruel, it does work out very well. But, you know, Mousesports, they actually have the opportunity to really kite themselves back. They don't have to always be engaging very deep. As long as they're using that, either like grabbing the boots, grabbing that Warhorn, making sure that they're pulling a Cruel away from the team fights, it works out in their favor. I'm just not seeing it yet.
Yeah, the thing for me is, like, you know, I see Gankstars, they're doing very well in this game, but I'm scared that Saw will fall off, you know, if the game goes too long. And right now, you know, the thing with Mousesports is their damage potential just isn't really hitting those spikes, but they're getting close. You know, the more items get built up on the sky, it's going to get devastating, it's going to get scary. Yeah,
and, you know, moving forward, like, something that we do have to watch for the rest of the game is the positioning of this Skye. I feel like she's going to be the biggest threat for them, and she's going to be needed for them to win.
All right, guys, well, keep your eyes on it. We've loaded back into the game. We're on pause, so let's go ahead and throw it back over. Action Jackson, Vedius, guys, let us know how it's going.
Oh, let's get right back into it. Leon already starting a bit of a fight here, but he's gone kind of low immediately as Great Khali was nearby. Look at that Dank Shank out of Techno JJ, annihilating the health bar of Net Toilette, but the stun from the Gauntlet is going to land. That's going to be the augmented attacks coming across Techno JJ. Oh, from Hell's Heart! Look at the damage! You cannot miss position for a second or you are going to get dunked.
How to dunk. Step 1, land stun. Step 2, apply weakness stack. Step 3, question mark, question mark, question mark. Step 4, they die. Beautiful combo coming out from Gankstars right now. The way in which they set this up onto Great Khali is absolutely phenomenal. The way in which Leon always holds on to that ultimate is just really, really intelligent. He never throws it out immediately. If he's going to use it to set up an engage, it's always onto the right target. I'm yet to see him wasted on Net Toilette or wasted on some kind of a disengage. Whenever he uses it, it is always optimal and efficient, and it guarantees his team a kill. Really impressive stuff coming out from Leon. Problem is, right now, Gankstars are struggling to siege onto these turrets because there's no weapon power coming out from Techno JJ, so it is going to be a very slow process when taking these objectives down.
If they can just get enough kills, I'm sure they won't mind too much. Leon does get stunned up here. Techno JJ already very low, so he might need to just back away. That's going to be the Dank Shank buying some distance as the suppressing fire comes across the team of Mousesports. Leon wants to keep this fight going, jumping right in here, but he finds that stun onto Net Toilette. Not the best target. That's going to be one trade. Techno JJ going on to Mr. K-Cool as Leon tries to deal with Great Khali. Suppressing fire is going to be going the wrong way. Great Khali's swap position, but 767 coming across. This is just ridiculous. Man, Techno JJ, every time he has got Rody Run available, he is doing some serious shanking.
Yeah.
He's going to maybe find it again here. That's the heal. The reflex block, though. The attacks from Mr. K-Cool come across, and they find themselves all 3 kills for 2. Very close fight. Very nearly an ace for Mousesports. But man, these fights are intense.
Mr. Keiko doing a good job of turning that fight around at the end. He was prepared for the re-engage coming out from Techno JJ. He held on to his reflex block and he knew exactly how to play it. So massive credit to Mr. Keiko for saving the team fight for Mousesports, but he may have overextended trying to go for this turret, but because Emma King no longer has that force to cord available, or he didn't at the time, Mr. Keiko easily going to be able to get out of that one, and they're going to guarantee themselves the gold mine. So off the back of that fight, with the shutdowns, with all the objectives that Mousesports have been able to pick up, they're actually going to take the lead. So good stuff from them, being able to mitigate a lot of the damage. What looked like a really awful fight for them, given that Great Kali actually got soloed out by Techno JJ, was able to work out in their favor. So Mousesports not completely out of this game just yet.
No, certainly not, but they do have to be careful. Any mispositioning, I feel, out of Mousesports is going to result in someone dying very quickly. So you really need to make sure you're sticking together, you're picking the smart fights. I think gauntlets are going to be super important. It can be actually quite easy to land gauntlets on Techno JJ. You know where he's going to flip back to if he uses a sort of telegraphed dank shank. So it's definitely possible for Mousesports to have good fights, so long as they stick together and play it quite smart. Right now, might face check Leon going for that long range from Hell's Heart.
Nice.
Surrey strike at the last second is going to keep him safe for now, but look at the suppressing fire across everyone. Picks up Mr. K-Cool. The ultimate popped as well. He's fully spun up. Techno JJ finds 2. Great Kali is going to be juking back and forth here, buying some time. Polite Company not going to land either. Great Kali, he's really making this escape work. Leon got to be careful here. I actually might be inclined just to let Great Kali go, because if he turns around onto Leon here, Leon might go down. Looks like he's going to be able to just buy some time for now.
Energy
Too many
levels
scout traps. He's just walking over so many. Techno knows exactly what's up. There
it
it is.
is.
Almost 1,000 damage. Too shy of the big 1K. Techno JJ picking up another shank kill. 14 kills to 5. Gankstars Cerberus, at least when it comes to the fights, are doing some pretty good work.
So, Techno, actually, his positioning was phenomenal in that fight because he got a full channel off of the suppressing fire. Now, remember I was talking about ratios earlier for his roadie run? So his suppressing fire actually has a ratio of +4. So and the base stat, when it is overdriven, is, well, at the moment, it currently has a base stat of 610. So with the crystal power on top of 610 base damage for a full channel, if you sit in that whole thing, it will just kill you outright. It does so much damage when you scale it with crystal power. He has the Eve of Harvest, he has the Broken Myth, and because of his positioning in that fight, and he was able to get a full channel off, he didn't even need to use his roadie run initially because of the amount of damage that suppressing fire was able to do. Yes, this build has long cooldowns, but if you position well, you can get so much sustained damage down in these team fights.
Talking about cooldowns, some interesting build paths coming out here. Clockwork on Leon. He's looking to dunk as much as possible, throw out as many from Hell's Hearts. Mr. K-Cool is going to get slowed up here. That's the from Hell's Heart. He's in a bad position. Suppressing fire is going to do so much damage. Techno JJ picking up that kill. Now moving forward, Techno JJ actually just used an infusion, I believe. Going to have a lot of damage in this next fight, but Great Kali still pretty healthy. Net Toilette just running forward, giving Emmer King a bit of a love tap and backing away. GSC, they're struggling to find objectives after these fights.
And they certainly are. This is the problem for them. They do have quite a weak turret-taking team. Even though they were able to get a quite nice pick onto Miss K-Call after he face-checked that brush, they're not able to secure any objectives off the back of it. So they're going to have to rely on the Kraken, I feel, if they really want to crack down onto these turrets. Because their turret-taking potential is actually very weak as... Ooh, Gankstars, they're forcing a fight.
They are indeed. Techno JJ didn't land the shank there, though. It actually expired. Hook not going to go across on a Great Kali. Net Toilette goes down. Whoa, what was that? That wasn't even a shank. That was just
that was
the
his
ultimate,
ultimate, my friend.
Holy guacamole.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what happens. Like, it's... Those scale with crystal power too, funnily enough. And so when you have a lot of crystal power, you have to respect that damage. Each shot, I believe, was doing 390 damage. Which is pretty crazy. But again, like, while it is great for team fighting and you can do a lot of damage, he doesn't have that much sustain. He's actually very easy to burst down because you can see he's built very little defensive items, and his sieging is very weak. So while it might seem very strong in these fights, it does have some very glaring weaknesses. That the problem that for Mousesports is that they can't take advantage of. Their composition isn't designed for insta-killing anyone.
This is what the Kraken's for, though.
This
right?
is what the Kraken is for, yeah.
You know, you might have a weak siege, but once it hits 15 minutes, you can kind of augment it by recruiting this mercenary for your team. Hook not going to go across. Nice Crucible coming out of Net Toilette. See, though, the Kraken already taking a lot of damage here from Hellsheart. Going to get blocked by Net Toilette. He's doing a good job of that. Dangshank doesn't really do too much onto the tanky member. Emmer King going to go down. Right now, Gankstars Cerberus, they might need to disengage, but look at this. Techno JJ pops the ultimate. Mr. K-Cool gets obliterated. Techno JJ is on fire right now. Leon, he might go down to the forward barrage. Oh, he's so close. Just able to get out of there. That was ridiculous. Gankstars Cerberus, they are playing on a razor-thin wire right now.
And they're going to keep on going. They do still have the Kraken just barely alive. Techno, he wants to get the kill on Sakali.
That is so dumb. That's the only way to describe it. No, it's not!
It's reasonable.
In what way?
It's reasonable. Because the reason it's reasonable is because it's actually a very obvious move that you can predict. It's not like he teleports to you. And you can get that sort of damage as well from a Taka X Retsu, which I would argue is a lot harder to counter than a guy just running at you. And when you're playing a Sky, you can maneuver around it. But it's the way in which Techno JJ is playing it that you really have to praise. Because yes, it is a lot of damage, but it does come with a lot of risks. It has a very high cooldown. It only does that burst of damage. You can't consistently get it off, and he needs follow-up from his teammate. And once it's down, you can easily just turn it around onto him and pick him up. The problem is, Mousesports are so far behind right now that they're struggling to find these fights as Mr. Keiko gets caught out.
I think he might have had some device issues there. He was just standing still, didn't react at all. And we did see him have a pause required earlier. That's not ideal for the side of Mousesports, faced with such a strong lead on Gankstars Cerberus as well. How much they can get off the back of that, though, with Mr. Keiko down for 30 seconds.
Well, I honestly don't think they're going to get much off the back of this. They're just going to set up the wave. They're going to try and shove it up, have it apply a little bit more pressure. But Gankstars really are relying on the Kraken to be able to come out ahead, because as we've already been discussing, their siege is actually very weak. They really need to just get on top of these turrets, and the amount of poke that is coming out from Keiko and Kali needs to be respected. Even though the team fights have regularly been going in favor of Gankstars, that doesn't mean that they can mitigate the damage that Mousesports do actually have available to them. So they need to wait for that Kraken. It has just spawned. This could be the play that they're waiting for.
Just saw something in Twitch chat that I love, but I'll get to it in a second from Hellsheart. Not going to land, so I'll get to it now.
His first missed one.
Yeah, but to be fair, it would have hit a reflex block there anyway. So it was all right. He forced a Crucible cooldown, and now the Forced Accord's going to land, right? But in any case, I saw something in Twitch chat. We've got the Dank Shank. Someone suggested boom bullets for his ultimate, and that's great. I like that a lot.
Right now, Net Toilette trying to go for the steal. This could be the comeback potential for Mousesports.
Two people stunned up in the gauntlet, though. That is not good news. Look at the damage. Techno finds one. Mr. K-Cool, he needs to try and run away here, as Net Toilette actually wants to fight Techno JJ, but that's going to be the Shank coming across. Leon in hot pursuit as well from Hellsheart. It's gonna land. Techno JJ just walking forward with the boom bullets and the Dank Shank for 1,300. Mr. K-Cool trying to get at least one return kill. Some kind of prize for the team, but he's just not gonna do it. It's gonna be Gankstars Cerberus with the ace, and I think they're gonna end the game right off that play. Very, very impressive performance from these guys. 23 kills in 23 minutes. They've had a kill a minute for 23 minutes.
But it has been a very long, drawn-out game, and that's just demonstrated how difficult it has been for Gankstars to actually close this one out. Yes, they were finally able to do it with Mousesports trying to go for this play, And it was just Gankstars really doing a good job of playing around the Kraken. They realized that Mousesports would definitely come to check it out. They would try to go for the steal. So rather than continue it, Gankstars just said, right, we'll force the fight right here. They get the fight that they wanted, and off the back of that, they were able to close out the game. So really impressive stuff. Great execution coming out from Gankstars. Leon demonstrating some phenomenal crawl mechanics overall. And I feel like coming back into 116, where Kroll has had a lot of changes made to him, Leon has been the most successful Kroll that I've seen so far.
Oh, absolutely, and he's really taken it and done some interesting stuff with it too, like this clockwork. I'm curious to hear Rome's thoughts on that, especially. Moving into Game 2, though, just to talk about the future for a second, we really need to see some more out of Mousesports. They just were not getting kills that game.
No, they certainly weren't. They were struggling a little bit. Hopefully Mr. K-Cool can resolve some of the issues that he's experiencing right now. Obviously, each player is responsible for their own devices, but hopefully he can get those issues sorted so that they can come back into Game 2 and look strong. We have to remember that Mousesports, formerly Rebirth of Empire, they have experienced loss before. They have gone to all 3 games in these series many times. They have a lot of experience playing together. So there's no reason why they can't bounce back from this one. It was a rough Game 1, but there's no reason for them to change things up coming into Game 2.
All right, well, to walk us through that incredible performance of Gankstars Cerberus and talk about what we might see coming up, let's pass it back to our analysts.
Wow, Mousesports